Hey guys, man, if you are thinking about buying, whether it's California or Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, Kentucky, you need to be listening to this podcast. Hey, you have found your way to Mortgage Sense, a common sense approach to mortgages. My name is Kevin Blair with Element Home Loans, and man, do I have a guest for you today, and I cannot wait. I've been listening to this man Monday through Thursdays every morning from 8:30 to 9 Eastern Time. Frank Garay, how the heck are you, sir?
Man, I'm good, Kevin. It's good to be on your podcast. This is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to just shooting the breeze about some stuff, man.
All right, so I want to give a little pretext, okay?
Yeah.
So about in July of this past year, Josh and I, my partner, we joined a coaching group. Okay, it's Mortgage and Market Animals in the Freedom Club. We got involved with it, and about a month before that, I had been invited to listen to what they call Loan Officer Breakfast Club. Frank is the host of that. So we've been listening for about 2 months. Thought it was a cult. Okay. But we
kind of is.
Into it. Yeah, we bought into it. And I think it was back in November we finally met when we went to an event down in Miami.
Right.
Or
Clearwater or something.
Clearwater.
Tampa,
right.
whatever.
Tampa, yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
So, guys, Frank is he is a loan officer. He does commercial business. He does residential. But the reason I'm having him on is because he's in California and we don't compete. But, Frank, I like to start my podcast because, you know what, we do mortgages, all right? I've been doing it. This is my 25th year of doing mortgages. I can't imagine doing anything else. I really can't. But to me, the most important thing is who we are as people, okay? So give me a 50,000 foot view of who Frank Garay is.
That's a good one. Well, I'm a mortgage guy, have been for 36 years. Of course, wow. In the 36-year span of being in the industry, I've, touched a lot of parts of the business and the industry, right? I've even dabbled in real estate just briefly for about a year, something like that, a few years back. And I've been a broker. I've been banker, right? That kind of a thing. Right. Probably the most notable mark in my career, though, was about 15 years. I became a professional video blogger for the mortgage and real estate space with something called the National Real Estate Post. And that came out of the big crash in 2008. Me and my business partner at the time, Brian Stevens, kind of emerged out of that as these people talking about it in the mortgage space. And, at that time, it was, you remember, it was chaos. Right. Mortgage originators were like, what are we going to do? And me and Brian were speaking about it. And at that point, video and streaming video and YouTube was all kind of new. So we were like this voice on this new platform that was accessible. And so we blew up and we became, pretty popular for about Brian still does it. He still does the National Real Estate Post, but I found myself, being flown around the country, Kevin, for, to speak and to talk about just all kinds of things. Me and Brian wound up on the Inman 100 in 2010, which is the 100 most influential people in real estate. We wound up there. Wow. We got that award. We'd been on Fox News multiple times with Liz Clayman after the bell as mortgage and real estate experts. Just a lot of things like that all around the country. A lot of accolade, and so did that for about 15 years. And then a couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago or so, I decided that, I'm getting up there in age, Kevin, so I'll be 62 in July. And my partner, Brian, at the time, he's 10 years younger than me. And I was like, brother, you got a lot left in you. I'm kind of running out of fuel. I just kind of need to scale this back a little bit. So I decided to leave the whole video, podcasting thing and then wound up with Carl White, the Mortgage Marketing Animals, who said, man, I got a great idea. Let's do this thing called Loan Officer Breakfast Club. And I said, okay. So we've been doing that. And that's where we met, right? Through Breakfast Club and the Marketing Animals. And about about a year and a half ago at the most, because of some situations that I have with my family, I have 4 kids, 2 of which are doing terrific, 2 of which just are in circumstances that are beyond their control that, I have to support them, and these are grown kids, right? They're 30, one's almost 40, and I have to support them. There's, and this is no small chunk of change when it comes to supporting them, Kevin. This is like, I'm not giving them $100 a month or something. This is thousands of dollars a month. So praise the Lord, I can do it, but I wanted to find a way for those guys to be able to do something that their circumstances would still allow them to do it, right? But they could make a living. And so I decided to try and put something together in the mortgage space and get them involved in it to where hopefully I could turn it over to them. And that's why I'm an originator again, Kevin. So you said I'm an originator, you're an originator. True. I'm in California, you're wherever you are on the East Coast.
I'm in Tennessee. Yes, sir.
Tennessee. Right. And so, but yeah, so back into the mortgage space, I'd say that's, but not for any reason other than trying to help my kids with something in the future. That's why I'm back in the space. I'm not doing it, to, try, I'm going to take over the world as a mortgage guy. Not at all. Right. In fact, if you looked me up, you wouldn't see a whole lot going on. There's some, right? I'm doing some, but it's been really for the sake of my kids. But I tell you, it's been good to get back into the space, Kevin, and be on the street level and engaging with consumers and being in tune with the market and, even dabbling in the commercial side of things. And so it's been good. So there's your 50,000 foot view of Frank Garay right now. So.
Man, that is fantastic, Frank. There's so many correlations. Okay. Now I've never been on the national stage. I'll be 63 in May.
There you go.
I'm about a year and a couple months older than you are. And I also have 3 grown kids and 9 grandkids now. I have been a branch manager. I've been a loan officer. I'm a branch manager now, but I've been a loan officer. I've been a VP of sales. I've led over 100 loan officers at one time. And I'll tell you, Frank, 15 years ago, Sherry and I are coming up in August, will be 44 years of marriage. So yeah, I was 19 when we got married.
I was going to say, congrats.
She was barely out of junior high, but that's a whole nother story.
We won't go there.
Yeah, we're not going to go there. I could be arrested. I'd probably go back and get arrested. That's why I had to leave Texas. 15 years ago, I told Sherry, I said, I'm going to put my head down and just close loans. I love dealing with the public. I love dealing with families that are buying a home. I love them sitting across from my desk and going through the application. And I don't think what we do is sales. I've never thought what we do is sales because you couldn't talk me into a mortgage. A realtor couldn't talk me into a house. My job, your job, is to advise people and walk them to down a path where they can make a decision. So I decided 15 years ago just to do that. And it literally changed my world. Okay. Because there was no more complaints. I didn't have all these loan officers not saying the truth, not doing the truth. I didn't have realtors showing up in my office the day of closing and say, why didn't the Smith file close? I said, the Smith file died 2 months ago, but they didn't know it. So I completely stepped away from that, and I had built a team around me. And brother, that has served me very, very well. And I like doing that. Now, my second son, which you have met, Josh, who's been with me for a little over 2 years now, he graduated college, had a career at a huge insurance company here for 16 years. And then, I've been trying to talk him in for years to come join me. And he finally did 2 years ago. And it has given me a new lease on life I've never lost my excitement. I love what we do. But it just gave me a new fire because he's caught fire and he's given him, it's setting up his 2 boys is setting up their future.
That's right.
That's what drives me, brother. That's what drives me.
I think
what part of, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think this is one of those careers that you can do things like that. You can establish, for lack of a better word, a legacy, right? And it's something you can bring your family into. It's something you can bring your children into and let them take over, if you will. So it's a unique industry. It really is. And it's been I look back on the mortgage industry. I literally went out of high school, graduated in June of 1980. I was in the Navy July of 1980, right? I got out of the Navy in July of 1986, and January of 1987, I was a mortgage originator. And so I just went from literally from high school into the military for 6 years and then into the mortgage space. And I just look back on the mortgage space, now that I'm in it 36 years and I'm, getting to the point where I'm going to retire pretty soon. And I look back at the industry just so fondly. It's just been such a great career and such a great industry. It really has. And you're right, Kevin. This is all about it's just helping people. I never fell into the trap. I don't think you did either during the scandalous times of 06 through 08 when everybody was just, you'd go to Starbucks and get a coffee and the guy would give you a loan application while he was giving you your latte,
Right.
Remember those days? Like everybody was in the business. Nobody knew what they were doing and it didn't matter. It was just, I never fell into any of that. Like with my people, I had a branch at that point. I had probably about 30, 40 people working for me. And I told them, we are not doing this. Like, you are going to take people's applications. You're going to make sure they can afford this home. You are not going to just put somebody into some. So I wasn't one of those guys that became a multimillionaire in 2 years, like a lot of other guys did, who just didn't care, it was a machine and they just put people into things they couldn't afford. I never did that. Right. I couldn't either.
I couldn't.
Right.
Guys around me were doing that and laughing at me because I was doing, but you know what? At the end of the day, I was closing more loans. They were scalping people and making twice the commission on one loan that it took me 3 loans to do.
Right.
But I built a database that's still working, baby. So it's still working.
I tell you, not to interrupt, but I tell you, when it all came crashing down, right? Mm-hmm. My guys and me had a clear conscience. Like, I was not concerned about anybody coming back to me and going, you hosed me over, Frank Garay. Right. I had no concerns of that because everyone that I took care of during that time, I made sure that they could afford that house, and it's like, you have to understand this could happen. And I wouldn't do the guys working, as a minimum wage person on some job and putting on their application that they make $20,000 a month to afford a McMansion. I wouldn't do that. I just couldn't do it, but so, and I think that the point I wanted to try and convey here is like, at least you and I, people who are listening to this podcast understand that there's a lot of really good, honest mortgage originators out there that didn't participate in any of that years and years ago and who are still, just taking good care of their people today.
Okay. And to that point, what was the stat that we heard this past week? 60% of originators did not renew their license this year.
Yeah.
Okay. So to that point, I've stayed in it and continue to hone my craft to continue to get better, which is why we're a part of the Freedom Club. Because even after 25 years, I still want to get better. So, well, Frank, let's do this, brother. I appreciate you being on with me. If somebody, do you handle just California?
Yes, that's the direction that it's going. Technically, I'm nationwide, but I'm transitioning. I'll be working with. So remember, I said I have 4 kids. 2 are doing well. Right. The other 2 are doing fine, but they're in a different circumstance. But right. One of the 2 that's doesn't really need my help or anything like that. He has his own mortgage brokerage here in California. So we decided, better just make it a family affair. And so I'm going to be moving over, to his shop eventually here for the next few months, something like that. And so, yes, to answer your question, yes, just California for now. Okay. Yeah.
So, guys, if you're looking in the anywhere in California and you need a great loan officer, that's your man right there. I'm pointing at him right there. Or maybe I'm pointing at him right there. I'm looking down at his picture right there. Frank, do you want to put your information out there? If somebody
the best way to get me is always just the cell phone, 707-695-6313. That's 707-695-6313. You can always get me on my website too, frankgaray.com. The last name is Garay. Garay. So frankgaray.com. It's easy to get me there.
Guys, this is Kevin Blair with Element Home Loans. My website is Kevin Blair Team. You can find on my About page, you can hit a button right up there to fill out a short form. I will call you personally. If you like this kind of information, hit like, hit subscribe, ring that bell. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Guys, thank you for listening. We appreciate it. Frank, brother, I love what you do Monday through Thursday. It fires us up. It gets us ready to go. You are a one of a kind, and I appreciate everything you do.
Well, thank you. You too, brother. Appreciate you very much. Thank you.
Have a great day.
All right, you too. See y'all later.